Well, a new bill put forward by the NDP is calling for an end to predatory lending during this pandemic.
This few $100 loan can be a debt burden of thousands of dollars as a result.
The bill wants to cap interest rate private companies can charge loans from 60 to 30%. This comes after a CBC Marketplace investigation which found lenders offering confusing and questionable information on loans. My next guest knows all too well how easy it could be to become a victim of high-interest lending. Donna Borden was indebted to a private lender for 7 years. She's now the vice chair of Acorn's East York chapter in Toronto. Acorn is a national organization advocating for economic justice, including a cut in the interest rate of debt. Hi, Donna. Thanks for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Hi. Thank you for having me here.
So I think it's safe to assume that you are welcoming this bill. Can you talk to us a little bit about who typically turns to these private lenders and what happens when they do?
It's usually people who don't have access to banks or can't or just need to borrow a small amount and they can't, the banks won't provide them with the service. Either they think they're high risk or so they go there as a last resort. Sometimes they go to these places because they have a check to cash and the bank put the check on hold for them. And then they're unable to, they hold it for 3 or 4 days. So it's just cheaper for them instead of having NSF charges just to go to a payday lender.
And so can you share with us a little bit about your experience just to explain what happened and how that unfolded?
Well, I decided to take out I went to the bank. I went to the Royal Bank to take out a loan to consolidate my debt. So I had the one fee, like just the one amount. And they referred me to City Financial. They told me I had too much debt. I was paying my bills, but they said I had too much. City Financial, I took out the loan. I thought I asked all the right questions. And years later, after dealing with the loan, I had paid them. By the time I went to a debt program, I had paid them close to something more than doubled than what I owed them probably. And then before I was finished with the debt program, they said I still owed them $7,000 after paying almost $25,000 on a $10,000 loan.
Wow. So what would a bill like this? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, what would a bill like this mean for Canadians who, especially now during a pandemic, many have lost jobs. Maybe they're already taking on debt in a situation like you where they're not able to get a lower interest rate. We're talking 60% in some cases. So what would a bill like this mean for Canadians?
This bill would help a lot. It's a private member's bill for NDP, and you need Trudeau and the finance minister to step it up. But what it would do is if it lower the criminal interest rate, so if people took out loans, and at least that way they wouldn't be taking out these huge loans, and maybe just step it up and get the bank to provide low interest loans, mandate the bank to provide services to all Canadians and to provide low interest loans and maybe an overdraft, like $100 overdraft, or even just provide services or lower their NSF fees, anything to provide. But the only one that could do it is the federal budget right now. They're the ones that could do it right now. There's no reason why they shouldn't be doing it. They work for all Canadians, and they should be stepping it up like right now.
Why do you think this hasn't been done sooner? Why do you think these interest rates have been allowed to be so high for so long? It also sounds like some of these companies have kind of found loopholes to get around it.
Oh, they definitely have found loopholes. And the problem is, too, I know that with Acorn, we met with different policy people from the federal and the provincial government. And the federal would tell us to go to provincial, and provincial would go to federal, and they kept saying they didn't know where they fit in. And so I know when I tried to file a complaint against, City Financial, they wouldn't allow me to. They said there was no complaint process. They said they didn't know where they fit in. Yet, now that there's a pandemic, they're considered essential. So apparently they do know where they fit in. So the banks have to be mandated, but why aren't you mandating these installment loans and these payday lenders? Why are they not being mandated the same way banks are?
Do you
so
think?
They need to.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Do you think that most people who turn to private lenders like this know exactly what they're getting into, know the risk involved, or is it just a case of that they don't really have much choice?
Some of them don't have much choices. Some of them just figure they know the risk, but they don't want to go to the banks and risk the chance of being turned down again. They know the banks are not going to provide them with the service. Some of them go there because they really don't think it's as bad. With me, when I went there, I just thought, well, it has to be mandated. There has to be regulations. It's got to be just like, right? So if there's a complaint process and they do something wrong, I can file a complaint. But then I found out that wasn't the case.
So just quickly before we go, what advice do you have for Canadians who might find themselves in a difficult financial situation and considering taking a private loan like this?
I think if someone's desperate for cash, I guess they have, they're going to try to go there, maybe try to borrow from families. If you're in debt, go to a debt program or go to a trustee or somebody and help you financially. But I know that it's hard and you're in a position right now and it's very difficult. But I know with me, I just wish now that somebody had told me ahead of time and that I had gone to somebody ahead of time, maybe a debt program or something I didn't know about. Yeah. And I probably wouldn't have been in the position that I was in.
All right. Donna Borden is the vice chair of Acorn's East York chapter in Toronto. Thanks for speaking with us tonight, Donna.
Okay. Thank you for having me.